How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? I've got a new chair today, and this chair is so much better than my other one, but fortunately the camera, I have to pan the camera down a little bit because it's so low down. So, unfortunately, I've kind of got this weird angle going on the camera, but Jesus Christ. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about movie director M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan. What is it? I can't pronounce his last name. That sounded awfully racist what I was just doing, didn't it? I apologise. That was not meant to sound like that at all. But we are going to be talking about M. Night Shyamalan. And I'm going to call him M. Night. I'm just going to call him M. Night. It's getting really, really bad. Look, M. Night. Do I think M. Night is a good movie director? The answer to the question is, yeah, look, he's got some good concepts, but there's massive issues with this guy. There's massive issues with M. Night, and these are issues that I have often found with M. Night Shyamalan. So I've done it again. That have always, for me, reared their ugly head. And that is that the man has some great concepts. The man can create some good concepts, and he has created some good concepts. You look at the likes of Sixth Sense for me. Sixth Sense is his best movie in my view. You've got Signs and movies like that are reasonably iconic. The Village, I think, was another one, wasn't it, as well? Starring Bryce Dallas Howard, released about 15 years ago, 16 years ago now, even more. But then you have movies like Trap, and you think to yourself, not a bad concept again. Featuring Josh Hartnett, that came out quite recently. The Watchers, which I thought was an absolute mess of a film. But again, not a bad concept. But we're going to look directly at a movie called The Sixth Sense, probably his most iconic movie. Now, I think The Sixth Sense, fair to say, is his most iconic movie. Obviously, the guy Bruce Willis plays gets shot. Spoilers, obviously, if you've never seen this movie before. Bruce Willis gets shot at the start of the movie. Obviously, throughout the entirety of the film after that, you just think he's sustained an injury and he's recovered, and then obviously it's just about kind of his guilt. His guilt is kind of what takes over following being shot, and then he wants to help this young boy who's suffering with problems because he couldn't help the previous guy. And that's what you think the movie is about, kind of guilt, and the fact that he's kind of trying to release himself from this guilt. And then you realise throughout the film that weird things are happening and so on. The boy says weird things. Rather than just tell him directly that he's dead, he kind of just says, I see dead people. They always do that in films. They always kind of like play the pronoun game. They never tell you straight, do they? You're dead. You're actually dead, and you're talking to me because you're dead and I can see dead people. It's like, I see dead people. It's not really, if I was him, I'd be thinking, oh, okay. Wait a minute, you're not aiming that towards me, are you? No, because the way you said it, it's definitely not aimed towards me. Definitely not. But they always do that in films, don't they? But you do find out subsequently at the end of the film that Bruce Willis is dead. And yes, of course, a great film. Like I said, I'm not discrediting Sixth Sense in any way, because it is a fantastic movie. It's probably one of my favourite movies in terms of like psychological movies. One of those movies that make you think. One of those movies that kind of get you on the edge of your seat. When I first watched it, I thought it was a very, very entertaining, gripping film. But the plot holes, there are so many plot holes with Bruce Willis being dead in that movie. So many plot holes with Bruce Willis being dead in that movie. Number one, now, for argument's sake, this is typical M. Night. He's got so many great concepts, but I think he struggles to actually turn them into, living ideas. Living ideas. I think he struggles to turn them into living ideas, but he does have some good concepts going on in his mind. Sixth Sense, like I said, there's so many plot holes. The fact that Bruce Willis is dead leaves a lot to be questioned. The fact that does he go shopping every week? Does he actually walk around supermarkets pushing a trolley? Because obviously he's got to eat. Surely in his mind he's got to eat food. And if he doesn't have to eat, if he's never eaten since being killed, he must probably surely question that at some point, why he never gets hungry. But let's say, for argument's sake, he does shop. And I would imagine he does, because obviously it'd be stupid if he didn't, because he would probably be thinking, what's going on here? When he's in the supermarket, do all the other customers just see a shopping cart moving on its own? That's a question. When he actually puts his food on the conveyor, and obviously with the till checkout, does the woman behind the till think, what the fuck, where the hell's all this food come from? There's no one standing here. Well, no, maybe. Does she? Does he? I don't know. It might be a male supermarket till guy person. I don't know, but when he's putting his food on the conveyor, does the food just magically go on there, and then everyone else is thinking, what the hell, where'd all this food come from? Oh my god, a flying bag of peas. A floating bag of peas. It's that kind of thing. Does he find it weird that not one person since he's been killed or since he's been shot has ever spoken to him? I know he thinks that they have spoken to him. I know there was a scene in the restaurant when I think his ex-wife says happy anniversary or something, and he believes she's talking to him, but she wasn't really talking to him. But surely he's not really had a proper conversation since he's been shot. He has not had a proper conversation since he's been shot with anyone other than that little boy. And that was obviously years later. So does he find that weird that not one person's actually ever spoken to him? It's very strange. It's very strange, isn't it, really, when you think about it? You know, there's so many questions, there's so many unanswered questions, and even from Bruce Willis's character, why didn't he question anything that was going on in that film? He never questioned why no one spoke to him. Does he go shopping? When he, I don't mean to be crude or anything, but does he masturbate? Does it just like, you know, if you were to see him, if you were to be one of the people in the room while he was masturbating, or, you know, would you just see floating sperm go up in the air and not one person, you know, there's no one actually creating that mess? You know, I don't mean to be rude, but that's the way it is. You know, does he ask his wife for sex? Is it, because obviously he still, from what I believe, he still lives with her, does he? There was a scene where they're in the house together. You know, does he ask her questions when they're sitting on the chair? Because she's sat on one chair and he's sat on the other. Did he ask her a question like, how was your day? And then she just blanks him. Do you want to go upstairs and have fun? No, you're not going to answer me either. You know, it's just weird things like that. There was a lot of question marks to the fact that Bruce Willis's entire reality was not once questioned by Bruce Willis himself. Just for the simple fact that the fact that he was dead, he should be asking questions about what was going on in his life. He should be. He should be asking questions about why this isn't happening, why that's happening, why no one's speaking to me. You know, why when I go to supermarkets does no one talk to me? Do people freak out when they see me put food on the conveyor because there's no one there putting it there? Things like that. And that's, you know, that's M. Night. He has a lot of plot holes for each and every one of his films. Look at Trap, that came out recently. Not a bad concept again. A guy who's obviously appearing at a concert with his daughter. There's a serial killer on the loose, and they heard he's going to be at the concert at that specific time, so they set up a trap to capture this killer. And obviously they're interviewing and analysing every single individual that walks in and out of the concert. And obviously he has to find a way out of this concert, and he does, using Lady Raven, the actual pop star, to get into her limousine. You know, kind of like blackmail, emotional blackmail. She obviously feels threatened. She's scared for her life. She's scared for other people's life, and that's how he gets out in the end. But like I said, once you know, you kind of have to extend your belief centre to actually believe that some of these things are even possible. The way he escapes some of these situations, and when they do escape and they go back to his house, it gets even more goofy. It gets even more stupid. They kind of introduce a bit of humour into it, and it just doesn't fall right. Again, I thought Trap was good at the concert when it was quite suspenseful, but after that it just went really pants. I watched the movie The Watchers. I thought that was a complete mess. I thought, again, the concept isn't too bad again. You know, you get lost in the woods, and then you end up in this kind of, you end up in this building where you have to kind of be watched by these monsters. There's like a little glass building in the middle of the woods, and these creatures are watching you constantly. But again, does it really make any sense? Does the actual concept really make any plausible sense? It doesn't really. And Signs, the movie Signs, the aliens' weakness in the end, I believe, from what I've been told, I've only watched this movie a couple of times, was water. Water was the weakness for the aliens in Signs. They're coming to planet fucking Earth. What the fuck? Why would you come to Earth if water's your weakness? It rains almost every day in some places. Fucking idiots. But, you know, that's M. Night. Like I said, he's not a bad director. I don't think he's a bad director, but he has trouble putting concepts to paper. He does. He's got it up here, but he leaves so many plot holes when he actually puts it into a live production. He does. He leaves so many plot holes. He leaves so many questions in each and every one of his films. And like I said, he's kind of a man who can create great concepts, but he can't quite put them into a movie in a plausible way, in a realistic kind of believable way. You know, he always leaves so much questions. He always leaves so much to the imagination of people watching it after the film. When the movie's finished and you think to yourself, good enough film, good enough concept, but what the hell was with that? What the hell was with this? That doesn't make sense. That don't make sense. And that's what I'm always left thinking when I'm watching M. Night Shyamalan movies, because that is exactly the kind of director I believe, movie writer he is. I think he's a bit like Quentin Tarantino, but just not Quentin Tarantino-esque, if you know what I mean. Some weird concepts, some weird ideas, but Quentin's probably better at actually putting his brain into a film. Whereas M. Night's got all the ideas, but he can't quite transfer it into the film. That's what I honestly believe. Apart from Sixth Sense is a fantastic film, but the amount of questions you have watching that film is unbelievable, and so many of his films are exactly the same. when you watch his films, there's so many questions that I have in each and every one of his movies. Not to take away from the fact that he's a good director and writer, whatnot, and that that he can create some really, really interesting ideas. But I don't rate a lot of his kind of movie ability in terms of the fact that there is always so many huge holes in his films. But like I said, give me your thoughts, guys and girls. Do you like M. Night? I'm not going to say his last name ever again because I am going to get cancelled, or I am going to be receiving kind of an email or kind of a warning from YouTube saying stop doing impressions of his last name because you're really pissing off certain people in this world. But that's the way it is. That's my thoughts on M. Night. Give me your thoughts on M. Night. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel also, and I will see you very, very soon for another interesting video. Bye-bye for now.